There were never going to be any prizes for guessing which global issues would dominate discourse at Davos's World Economic Forum's annual meeting in 2022. Russia's invasion of Ukraine and a global economy walking a thinning tightrope. After a 2-year hiatus, the coming together of political, business and environmental leaders was taking place at a crucial moment in time.
Right now we're a world facing simultaneous crises. An international security crisis, a global health crisis, a global food crisis, and at the same time climate change crisis. So this kind of polycrisis has not occurred in a long time. And this meeting was focused on what does the world need to do to be able to bring us out of this crisis. And what is the role of trade? So we had quite a number of meetings on trade. Of course, on the food crisis, we're trying to see what we can do to help Ukraine, the evacuation of the 25 million tons of grain we have in Ukraine now, because we have another 25 million tons that will be harvested in a month, and the world needs it. We are focused on trying to help other countries who have excess supplies to put them on the international markets. We are focused on trying to make sure our members do not put export bans and export restrictions on food, because that will exacerbate the problem, as we saw in 2008. So all of these things are related to trade. And I'm very concerned because 35 African countries import their food from Russia and Ukraine. They import 22 import fertilizer from that Black Sea region, Russia, Ukraine, Belarus. So actually for the continent it's really vital that we look at the trade implications of all this.
The Economic Forum at a time that was an issue on Nigeria's finance minister's agenda. Zainab Ahmed, who spoke at a session on risk allocation and mitigation, discussed the need for global instruments that will reduce the cost of financing and unlock funding to help the country's food production capability reach surplus that can make it to the international market.
For Nigeria, it would be useful for us to access such financing just for the inputs for fertilizer production, because in Nigeria we're producing significant volumes of food and we're able to feed our people without importing food. But we have been importing some of the inputs like potash for the production of fertilizer, and the price has become very high now because of the war in Ukraine. So such initiatives that are being discussed now will help us to access the inputs maybe at lower cost, and also at larger volumes to help the fertilizer industry to produce more and reduce the cost of fertilizer for the farmers.
Over the course of the week, support of the Global South was shown in conversations centering climate, trade and healthcare. Pfizer announced it would provide more than 1 billion people in 45 low to middle income countries with access to its patent-protected medicines and vaccines on a not-for-profit basis. And there was outright condemnation of Russia's foreign policy. The war in Ukraine and the threat of a global recession have dominated conversation at this year's World Economic Forum, but there's also been optimism, examples of global cooperation in the arenas of international trade, finance, healthcare and sustainability. And as the leader of the World Economic Forum puts it, we should live in a win-win world. But how long will that world take to materialize? When will it start? Who will be the benefits, and how can we make sure that the Global South isn't left behind? Adefemi Akinsanya, Arise News at the World Economic Forum in Davos.